This crime took place in the Netherlands, in the small town of Oostburg, a place with a population of no more than 4,500, located in Zeeuws-Vlaanderen. However, what made it so shocking was that when the police revealed the main suspect, people simply refused to believe it, that is, until irrefutable evidence was presented. On the evening of Monday, December 14, 2020, 29-year-old Emma van der Berg visited her grandmother. This was the last time her family would ever see her. The next morning, Emma spoke to her mother, Sarah, while on her way home from her sewing workshop. Both lived in Oostburg. They briefly discussed the new lockdown announced the previous night due to the COVID-19 pandemic and how it might affect their businesses. This was the last time her mother heard her voice. That evening, Sarah received a text message from Emma, but something was wrong. First, Emma didn't usually send text messages. She always used WhatsApp. This was a short text. Furthermore, the way the message was written didn't resemble her style at all. It contained words her daughter didn't normally use. The message claimed that Emma was going away for a few days with a friend. Sarah felt immediately suspicious, a few days right before Christmas, with the sewing workshop full of work. Where would she go, and with which friend? That same night, Sarah began calling Emma's closest friends. None of them had any idea where she was, and they had all received the same strange text message. They also tried to contact her, to no avail. Sarah went to her daughter's house, and what she found there increased her anxiety. The house was empty except for Max, Emma's beloved cat, who had been left without food or water. There was no sign of a suitcase, and all her clothes were still in the closet. Emma's brother, Thomas, logged into her Facebook account hoping to find some clues, perhaps a new friend or any hint of travel plans. But as with her home, there was nothing unusual on her account. The next day, Sarah went to the police to report her daughter missing. However, since Emma was an adult and only a short time had passed since her disappearance, the police initially refused to take any action. The family insisted something was wrong. They pointed out that she never sent text messages, that she would never leave her cat without food or water, and that nothing had been packed. They explained that the reality they faced completely contradicted the content of that text message. Nevertheless, the police said their hands were tied. Days passed with little significant movement from the police, and an official investigation wasn't opened until Christmas. But Emma's family didn't wait for the police. They began their own investigation. They started by visiting one of Emma's closest friends, a 44-year-old Belgian woman named Laura de Smet. Laura had recently opened a spiritual store named the Little Spiritual House, Lotus, in May 2020, just 2 doors down from Emma's sewing workshop. The two women were very close, speaking daily and supporting each other as business women. The store was filled with books and items related to black magic. Laura greeted them, looking as worried as they were. She claimed she knew nothing about Emma's whereabouts and expressed deep concern about her disappearance. This was consistent with the accounts of other friends. She then offered to help with the search. In the following weeks, Laura was active on social media, posting every update about Emma's case and appealing to the community for help. She also physically participated in some community search efforts in the Oostburg area. Then, on January 3rd, the police finally issued a public appeal, distributed information about Emma's case as missing to police stations across the Netherlands, and added her to the National Missing Persons Database. However, no real progress was made until investigators got involved. At the beginning of the new year, on January 1st, the family took bigger steps through intensive posting on social media and community sites in an attempt to attract as much attention as possible to the case. Finally, one of their posts gained national attention, not just locally but from all over the country. With mounting pressure, local investigators and police were forced to show they were taking the matter seriously and finally agreed that everything indicated Emma had not left voluntarily. and that the entire scenario and the suspicious text message, as mentioned before, likely pointed to a criminal suspicion. As the investigation progressed, a shocking surprise came to light. Emma had been involved in a love triangle with her close friend Laura and Laura's husband, Mark. Many of Emma's friends confirmed this to the police. According to them, Laura and Emma had become very close, and at some point, they admitted they were attracted to both men and women. While Emma had previous experiences with women, Laura expressed her desire to explore that side with Emma and suggested that her husband Mark be present during that first intimate experience. This ultimately led to a threesome in late November 2020, but in the following weeks, something happened. Mutual feelings developed between Mark and Emma, and he wanted to explore their relationship more deeply. Mark told Laura he wanted to end the threesome and focus solely on Emma. The police turned their attention to Mark. Mark lived with Laura and their 6 children in the nearby village of Oostburg in Zealand. He confirmed that he too had received those messages from Emma during the time she disappeared. In fact, on December 14th, the day before Emma's disappearance at 7 a.m., she was sending him messages full of love and emotion. According to Mark, they planned to meet at a cafe that day. They later went to Blankenberg to pick up Mark's children from daycare. According to him, that was the last day they spent together. The next morning, WhatsApp messages between them continued, full of promises and commitments. But by 9:29 p.m., everything changed. Mark received a short text message, no WhatsApp, saying, "Hi, did you get my message? I'm having problems with WhatsApp, no Wi-Fi." Then suddenly, a sharp 180-degree turn. "It's all too much. Sorry. I want to break up. They were beautiful times, but I want to get my life back somewhere else." Mark was stunned. In another message, Emma claimed she was in Breda with a friend. "I do and know when I lines be back. Then I'll leave for Indonesia with a friend in about a month. I need time for myself." Mark tried to understand. He was in pain but respected her wishes. On December 16th at 9:51 p.m., a final message came. "I'll be okay. Don't worry. This might be my last message on the app. I'll get a new SIM card soon." Then silence. Mark told investigators that from the start of those messages and her lack of response to his, he realized something was wrong. That wasn't Emma. He also talked about Laura, his partner and the mother of his children. The relationship was strained. Things were good before, but the last few years had been difficult. Laura isn't an easy woman. She always plays the victim. "She leaves me to raise the children alone. She only does what she wants." Just a year before the family moved to Oostburg, Laura had wanted to open a spiritual store in the Netherlands. On Tuesday, February 9th, while the family and friends were still conducting near-daily searches themselves, the investigation team launched several official searches. One at Emma's workshop, another at Laura's spiritual store, and a third at Laura's home, which she shared with her husband and children. While Laura allowed the police to search her store without objection, the little spiritual house, Lotus revealed nothing unusual. But there was something that didn't match her statements. Laura had always confirmed that the last time she saw Emma was on Monday, December 14th. However, this contradicted a photo found on her phone. A photo she had deleted, but police digital forensics teams managed to recover it. The photo was taken on December 15th at exactly 1:01 p.m. It shows Emma inside Laura's store, specifically entering the passcode to unlock her phone in Laura's kitchen. Why was Laura lying about the date? And what was this strange photo? Emma unlocking her phone in Laura's kitchen. Could this explain why the text messages were so strange? Because they weren't from her. And if Laura was behind this, why would she take a photo that incriminated her in this way? Laura was arrested immediately. She was about to go on holiday with her husband and children. During her arrest, Laura continued to deny any involvement and insisted on her innocence. Even when the police made another terrifying discovery, that same day, forensic investigators found a hidden blood stain on the carpet under one of the legs of the round table. The Dutch Forensic Institute confirmed the blood was Emma's. Blood was also found on a pair of Laura's shoes, and that wasn't all. The same day, investigators received a message from Laura's husband, Mark, who was staying at a holiday cottage with their children. According to him, their 13-year-old son had said something very disturbing. He remembered that a few weeks earlier, when it was snowing, his mother had asked him to help her lift a heavy package into her Peugeot car. The package was wrapped in garbage bags, and according to the child, it had a foul smell. The police arranged a formal interview with the child in a child-friendly forensic studio. During the session, he confirmed everything. He also confirmed that on another occasion, his mother had asked him and a friend to help her move the same package, this time from her store to the car. Investigators compared the son's timeline with GPS data from Laura's Peugeot. Did her car make suspicious movements? Did it stop in unusual or isolated places? Yes, it did. The GPS data led investigators to a drainage canal along the Kanalven near the town of Sluis, close to the Belgian border, just a few kilometers from Oostburg. On the morning of February 16th, members of the National Underwater Search Team carried out a large-scale search operation in the area. Eventually, a garbage bag was found among the reeds. Inside it were the first remains of Emma van der Berg's body. In the following weeks, the police conducted several additional searches and eventually managed to recover the entire body, which had been cut into 9 separate parts. In February, a forensic pathologist examined the remains. The result: Emma had been strangled and the dismemberment occurred after death. The tools used were likely a power saw and an axe. Strangely, the forensic timeline indicated that the body parts had been placed in the water much later, long after Emma's original disappearance. Later, Emma's phone was also found under a bridge. The device had been submerged in water for about 2 months, yet specialists at the Dutch Forensic Institute managed to extract usable data from it. In the week following her arrest, Laura was interrogated 4 times. During these sessions, she mostly denied the charges and remained silent. It was noted that Laura was a small, slender woman, 1.60 meters tall, a full head shorter than Emma, and at least 20 kilos lighter. She spoke with noticeable slowness, as if weighing every word 10 times before saying it. In some police interrogations, she sat in silence for 2 or 3 minutes at a time. It wasn't until February 16th that Laura broke her silence during the 5th interrogation. She presented a handwritten statement, but the statement was described by investigators as bizarre and entirely fabricated. In this statement, Laura admitted to the existence of the love triangle between the parties, but denied any motive for committing the crime, saying she was the victim, not the perpetrator. Laura claimed she felt betrayed by the relationship between Emma and her husband. She had saved Emma's name in her phone as the bitch. She said she never wanted her husband to be with another woman and described herself as possessive, but she denied any intention to harm Emma. Instead, she said she was actually trying to protect Emma from Mark. Laura claimed Mark had a history of manipulation and told the police she had warned Emma that Mark would try to get her pregnant, then use the child as leverage to trap her in the relationship, just as he had done with her years ago. According to Laura, she was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Mark and was only trying to prevent Emma from suffering the same fate. Laura admitted that Emma had died, but insisted she was not responsible for her death. She said, if anyone wants to know what really happened, they should ask Mark. She refused to say his name, but accused him of being behind everything. She claimed that Mark had once sent her to a hardware store in Bruges and supplied her with a disturbing shopping list that included garbage bags, duct tape, a hand axe, and a handsaw. Later, she said, he ordered me to dispose of Emma's remains. Investigators thoroughly examined the possibility of Mark's involvement and found no evidence to support her claims. Yes, Laura had gone to that store and bought every item on that list, even an air freshener, a little tree which was clearly visible hanging from her car's rearview mirror in the store's CCTV footage. But there was nothing to indicate Mark had sent her. In fact, he wasn't even in Oostburg on the day Emma disappeared. He was working all day in Belgium. Phone records, GPS data, and work records from his employer confirmed his alibi. Investigators also reviewed Mark's messages with Emma, which painted a complete picture of a man genuinely in love, someone with no apparent motive or opportunity to commit the crime. But Laura still insisted. However, her statement was dismissed as unreliable. Laura withdrew from the interrogation process and told the police she would not speak again until the investigation was over. And until then, she remained silent, but this silence did not last. On April 14, 2022, nearly a year and a half after Emma's disappearance, Laura finally confessed and admitted that she alone was responsible for Emma's death, but she claimed it was an accident. According to Laura, on the morning of December 15, 2020, a conversation in her store's kitchen escalated into an argument about the developments of the love triangle and turned into a physical altercation, she said. She claimed that Emma fell and hit her head on the radiator edge, and when she collapsed, bleeding and struggling to breathe, Laura panicked. Instead of calling for help, Laura claimed she pressed on Emma's neck, fearing she would lose everything. She moved Emma's unconscious body to the changing room in her store, covered it with boxes, and burned large quantities of incense to hide any smell. Astonishingly, Emma's body was still inside the store when her family visited Laura a few days later to ask about her disappearance. Laura spoke to Emma's worried mother and brother while Emma's body was just 1 meter away behind a curtain. After that visit, Laura realized she had to dispose of the body. She first tried to move Emma's body in one piece, but was physically unable to do so. So she went to a hardware store where she bought an axe and a handsaw, then returned to the store and cut Emma's body into 9 parts. She placed each part in garbage bags, drove them to a drainage canal, and disposed of them. The remains went undiscovered for another month. Laura then used Emma's phone to send misleading messages to her family and friends to create the illusion that she had simply left. She even joined the search efforts, pretending to be a concerned friend while hiding the truth the entire time. So what really happened? Investigators were not convinced by Laura's story. They didn't believe Emma hit her head on a radiator or that her death was an accident. When you panic, you call emergency services. You don't strangle someone who needs help. Forensic evidence indicated that Emma was struck in her right eye with a heavy object, incapacitating her. Laura is then believed to have tied her to a chair with a piece of cloth. This likely happened around 10 a.m. Sometime later, she strangled her. A witness also cast serious doubt on Laura's version. A customer had visited Laura's store on December 15th, the day of the crime. The customer told police that Laura said to him she might have killed someone and she's going to go to prison. Then the customer heard moaning sounds from the back of the store. Laura apologized and went to the back, then returned after a minute or two, and the sounds had stopped. This suggests that Emma was likely still alive, injured, restrained, and hidden somewhere inside the store. Perhaps Laura made the cold, calculated decision to end her life long after the initial injury. How did Laura know Emma's phone passcode and send those texts? Before the crime, Laura had secretly taken a picture of Emma entering the code. This is how she was able to send those fake messages that deceived everyone while Mark, Sarah, and Emma's closest friends. In November 2022, the court convicted Laura de Smet of killing her friend Emma. The sentence matched the prosecution's request, 18 years in prison. The court also ordered Laura to pay nearly €200,000 in compensation to Emma's family. The court described Laura's handling of the body as degrading. Only a lock of hair and Emma's right arm were in good enough condition for the family to say goodbye. The family expressed relief at the verdict. Emma's brother, Thomas Vanderberg, said he was happy that the court had confirmed what he had known all along. It was murder. Her mother, Sarah, felt torn apart. Laura filed a final appeal with the Dutch Supreme Court, but in February 2024, the court ruled that there were no grounds for appeal, and the sentence became final. To this day, Laura insists that Emma's death was an accident and believes she deserves a reduced sentence for manslaughter, not premeditated murder. According to her, everything went black, as she once said. To this day, I still wonder, why did she do it? But the truth is hard to deny. While Emma's family and friends were desperately searching for her, Laura was playing the role of the supportive friend. She looked into the eyes of Sarah and Thomas, offering them hugs and sympathy, while Emma's body was just a few meters away in the fitting room of her store. As for the motive, I believe it was pure jealousy. But tell me in the comments, what do you think? And if you've watched until this point, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. Goodbye.